Civil War history ain't boring. Did you know President Grant was pulled over for speeding twice on consecutive days by the same black police officer? Contrary to popular belief, history ain't boring. If told right, history has energy, it has vitality. History comes to life with hidden heroes, vile villains, stunning situations, and amazing anecdotes. I just gave you an example, and I didn't make it up. Hi, my name is John Poniski, Marine veteran, retired history teacher, and author of the exciting, well-researched Civil War and Reconstruction series, SNAKEBIT. SNAKEBIT is a family saga pitting two neighboring families in the border state of Western Maryland against each other. The slave-holding McCunes run a tobacco farm, the abolitionist Garretts a melon farm. As the story unfolds, the Garretts and the McCunes struggle not only for against each other, but their place in a politically charged country on the verge of splitting apart. The presence of the Garrett patriarch, Valentine, once a stately giant of a man, now deceased, acts as the Garrett's ghostly conscience throughout. When alive, he liked to explain that confusing human nature is akin to being snake-bit. In fact, he's fond of saying, "This town, this state, hell, right now, it's like the whole goddamn country is snake-bit." Kind of sounds like today, doesn't it? I was raised in Springfield, Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln spent his formative years. I cut my teeth on Lincoln's background. My best friend became the caretaker of the estate where Lincoln tried his very first case as a lawyer. I grew to love Civil War history, and it has become my lifelong dream to write Civil War fiction that tells the hidden truths we never learned in school. Eventually, I retired to South Central Pennsylvania. I reside in a town once occupied by the Confederate General Jubal Early, just prior to the Titanic Battle of Gettysburg. I cheerfully call this region Civil War Central, as it is located betwixt the battlefields of Gettysburg, Monterey Pass, Monocacy, South Mountain, Harper's Ferry, Ball's Bluff, and Antietam. In addition, the next town over is Chambersburg, the only town burned by the Confederates during the war. For this reason, I concentrate the SNAKEBIT saga in this rich historical region. Now, what are you likely to learn from my SNAKEBIT novels? Let's see. Did you know how common it is for families to be divided over the issue of slavery? What about behind the scenes at the White House during President Lincoln's, Johnson's, Grant's, and Hayes administrations? What was it like to run the naval blockade or march with Sherman? You'll learn the quirky natures of historical figures like Samuel Clemens, Thaddeus Stevens, Frederick Douglass, and James Longstreet. How civilians got along with soldiers after they left for home. How those same soldiers managed after the war. How the Mennonites, the Irish, Native Americans, and Asians figured into the story. You'll be introduced to the first great American Depression. You'll read how close America came to class warfare during Reconstruction, and why it took another century for civil rights to take hold after Reconstruction. And finally, if you were paying attention, you'll recognize eerie parallels between the election results of 1877 and 2025. Would you like to hear a brief passage from book one? All right, you twisted my arm. The following is taken from chapter 18, entitled Botheration. Valentine positioned his graveyard 500 yards from his cabin. He chose a beautiful shaded spot, bordered by aging apple trees. A venerable chestnut stretched its loving, protective limbs over the family plot below. Over the years, the family interred 7 loved ones there in 2 neat rows. Because Valentine insisted, each was marked with an expensive stone marker. Valentine's rested in the back row. Beside him, dark slated marked the final resting place of his parents, Patrick and Grace Garrett. His stone, like those that identified his children, Sarah, Joseph, and Zechariah, along with his best friend, Finn, had been fashioned from clouded limestone. Someone once suggested that he fence in the little cemetery, and Valentine replied, restrictions on them is done. Why fence in people once they die? They stood in a silent half circle around the stones, the Garrett family and friends. Mother acted as master of ceremonies. Here, she handed Sam a clutch of asters and pansies. You lay the flowers. Sam shrugged, accepted the flowers, and then threaded a path through the graves to place them all carefully at the base of Valentine's stone. Jeff gave further instructions. No, you fool idiot! Spread them out. Give one to each one. Each one a couple. Sam did as directed, but not without mumbling. I know. It was the occasion of Mother's 42nd birthday. At her suggestion, she and her well-wishers walked with her to the graveyard to pay their respects. Valentine began the custom, and he carried it out on all family birthdays. Said it was the right thing to do to keep alive the memories of the dead. After his passing, the Garretts saw no need to change their ways. Besides, Mother present were Gabe, Jeff, Becca, Sam, John, Not, Victor, and his father, James. Neighbors, Sharp, Stephen, Billy McCune, they had all come to celebrate with Mother, along with her Mennonite friends, Aaron, Susan, and Hannah Mueller. And of course, Mabel and her half-grown pups. Sam returned to stand before Mother, who slipped her arms around him. Thank you, one and all, for your friendship, for coming this day. Makes my heart glad. She stepped forward to stand beside the graves of her 2 stillborn children. All right. Let's say a piece about each of those that passed on, and we'll save Valentine for last. Taking a deep breath, she squatted and placed a hand on each of her children's graves. Well, that's it for now. I thank you, history lovers, for spending this time with me. The SNAKEBIT series is available on Amazon, and here you see the first 6 books in the series, beginning with Book 1, Prelude to War. You can find it, again, on Amazon. And when you have the time, visit my author's site here at johnpaniski.com. Happy reading!